YouTube? It's Little Rocker Cutie 2005, also known as Andre, back again with another review for you. This time it's going to be a few of my series reviews, starting off with the Fast and the Furious series, and I've already done a review of the Hunger Games. I will be reviewing the second one, Catching Fire, pretty soon, but right now, like I said, I'm doing Fast and the Furious. I'm going to be talking about the first one. And it stars Paul Walker and Vin Diesel. Jordana Brewster, Michelle Rodriguez didn't get, what I would say, top billing just yet. But basically, Paul Walker is a cop, and he's sent in to infiltrate this gang of street racers that have been pulling off heists on 18-wheelers and stealing stuff. Oh, excuse me, I keep doing that. So he has to get into the world of undercover racing and kind of fall in with Vin Diesel and his crew in order to get, evidence on them to kind of bring him down. And he ends up, falling in love with Vin Diesel's sister, and... excuse me. Sorry, guys. But then, he's infiltrated the group, and the first race they have, he almost beats him. He almost beats Vin Diesel. And so, Vin Diesel says, it don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile, winning's winning. And so, after that, the cops are chasing all the street racers, and Dom's basically on foot, so Paul Walker shows up and kind of saves them. And the rival, the main rival of this movie, his name's Johnny Tran. His gang shows up on these motorcycles, and they direct them to go to Chinatown. And they have this little out-and-out dialogue for a minute, and the motorcycle gang takes off. But then next thing you know, a couple of them show up with Uzis and shoot at Paul Walker's car, and they both jump back from the car, and it's burning and everything, and the motorcycles take off. Then you hear Vin Diesel scream, "Nos!" and the car just blows up, because a lot of times street racers use nitrous oxide in their cars to make them go faster so they can win the race. And basically, he's got, Paul Walker's now basically, in the group, and so, he's got to help them. That he's not exactly, I would say, helping them, but, he's finding out more about, the other cliques of street racers and giving this information to Dom, who's Vin Diesel's character, and, Johnny Tran, they think, he's the thief, and so it turns out that Johnny Tran had bought all these DVD players and stuff, legally, and then it's, and then basically, you find out that it's Vin Diesel's crew, him, Michelle Rodriguez, and a couple other guys that are doing the heist, and so, Paul Walker's got to stop him with, Jordana Brewster's help, and so, he goes, and they go, and that's basically, but before that, there's this thing called Race Wars, and it's where all the street racers go to kind of show off their cars and what they got and everything. And at this time, Paul Walker's driving this really hot-looking orange Toyota Supra, which is actually owned by, I think it's one of the guys from Import Tuner magazine or something, like one of the head guys. It's his car. And, Paul Walker's actually driving this car throughout the movie, and he ends up driving it at Race Wars. And so, they're at Race Wars, Jesse races Johnny Tran for pink slips and basically loses, so he flips out and takes off, and then, it's later that night, and Paul Walker hears Mia and Dom arguing because, Dom and them are going to go on another heist, and Mia's got a bad feeling, so she says, don't go, and they go anyway, and so... and the truckers have been, arming themselves with shotguns and whatnot, and so they're trying to pull off this heist, and they've got the one guy who's, in charge of, getting, onto the truck, and this truck driver's armed, so, he aims at the guy gets his arm caught in the wire, and basically, Dom's trying to rescue him, and he can't because, the truck driver keeps hitting the brakes, firing his shotgun and whatnot, and then, he hits Dom's car a couple times, and it's enough to make the engine go out and just stall, and it won't start again, and so, Letty gets in a wreck. He tells the other guy to go back for her, and so, Paul Walker and Mia, they go racing up to help him, and they're able to get him off the truck, and so, this is when Paul Walker has to reveal that he's a cop, and so, they get the guy who was, caught up in the wire and everything, had a blast to his abdomen, or his, in his belly with shotgun. They get him to the hospital. Meanwhile, you know, Dom's got his shotgun. He's getting in this Charger that he built. Him and his dad built. It's like this. It's like a 1970 Charger with a 900 horsepower engine in it. And, you know, it's kind of a face-off between him and Paul Walker because, you know, Paul Walker's telling him put the gun down, and, you know, Vin Diesel's telling him move your car. And he's like, no, bullshit, put it down now, no more running. Vin Diesel goes, I'm not running. And then it's like, they're still, you know, facing off. You know, Mia pops out, stop it, it's over. And Dom tells her to stay out of it. Meanwhile, Jesse, who's taking off Race Wars, pulls up all freaked out because he doesn't know what to do. And then you hear these motorcycles start coming up. And it's basically, you know, the Johnny Tran and his cousin, who's like the other, like, lead villain. They've got Uzis, of course, so they start shooting, take out Jesse. And, you know, Paul Walker and Vin Diesel, you know, Brian and Dom, they hit the ground. You know, Brian gets in the Supra, takes off after him, and then Dom, he jumps in the Charger, takes off after him. So it's basically the two of them, you know, chasing down these motorcycle guys, and of course they end up taking them both out. And then it comes to like the final showdown where they're at this place where Dom used to drag at in high school, and so they have to go for this train track and get across it before a train comes. And the two of them actually make it across, and of course, you know, they're kind of looking at each other as they drive, and then, you know, Dom doesn't see it, but he hits a truck, and like a semi, and it sends his car flying, and it flips and whatnot. And, you know, Brian does like a 180 turn and like turns the car around, and while Vin Diesel's car is going like right over his car and lands. And so, you know, he runs out to see if he's alright, and then, you know, you hear the sirens coming, and Brian hands Dom his car keys. He goes, you sure you know what you're doing? Brian goes, I owe you a 10-second car. And so that's kind of how the movie ends, with Brian going to face the cops. And then after the credits, you get this really cool scene with Vin Diesel where he's in Mexico, and, you know, he's basically just living life the way he wants to. You know, for now he's got in the way, and, you know, that's basically how it ends. But that was my review of The Fast and the Furious. I hope you enjoyed it. My review of Too Fast, Too Furious, and as well as Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift and Fast and Furious, which is the fourth one. I'll probably film those tomorrow night because I am getting a little bit tired. But, you know, once again, it's Lil Rocker Cutie 2005, also known as Andre. I'm telling you to enjoy life, enjoy some Skittles, enjoy some Starburst, and in the immortal words of my faithful partner Chris, Buffy Xenaman, he always says, eat some chicken, and I'll see you guys next time.